this, I'd like to bring the conversation now to our very own JJ Tabane, who joins me in the studio. JJ, you and I have been analyzing it, and analyzing what's been happening in eNCA. But let me ask you this, and I think that it's the same question that I even posed to Kathy, that we're here because of former President Jacob Zuma's refusal to appear before the Zondo Commission, or appearing by just saying, let the Judge Zondo recuse himself so that I may have a fair opportunity to state my side of the story, because I feel that the judge is biased. Yeah. Had the judge indeed said, you know what, for the greater good of the country, I'm going to recuse myself, even though I do not agree with former President Jacob Zuma, but just so that the nation can hear what happened in those 9 years, I will recuse myself. Do you think that we would be where we are today as a result?
Yes, we'll still be here, and good evening to you, Faith. I agree with your previous guest. Right? Let's not fool ourselves. These are delaying tactics by Jacob Zuma that are not even new. If you just knew, I would understand why we're all in a tailspin trying to do what I call analysis paralysis. The reality is Jacob Zuma doesn't want to appear in front of any court to account for anything, right? He's run away from the courts for more than 15 years. And even after getting his day in court, right, that he has been saying, I want my day in court. He says, no, I want the prosecutor to leave. I want a new prosecutor. He wants a judge he wants a prosecutor he likes. He'll be literally doing what in law is called forum shopping, shopping for anything where he can have a nice time. Why am I saying that? He appeared in front of Zondo, let's not forget, right, roughly a year and a half ago. And 4 days into that appearance, he started saying, I don't like how I'm being asked questions. Basically, he didn't want to be, given a third degree. He wanted to come there, make his grand statements about so-and-so being a spy and all of these conspiracy theories about him being a victim. And then when the real questions were beginning to be asked, he said, I don't like what the judge is saying. So already that tells you that his reason that Zondo must recuse himself is all fabrications and all an excuse. And it's simple, and I would understand it, Faith, right? 40 witnesses, no less than 40 witnesses directly implicated him. This didn't happen when Zondo, was appointed. It didn't happen, even halfway through the commission and so on. It happened incrementally, and he could see that he's got no case that he can really go and defend. And so my information, Faith, is that his legal team, the reason they didn't appear in front of the Concord was that they had no legal plan. They had no legal strategy. And sadly, in his current papers, he's actually confirming that. He's saying, I got bad legal advice. I mean, this is completely ridiculous. Yeah. He got bad legal advice. That's why he disrespected the court. So I believe we will still be exactly where we are, if not worse, because he would have found another reason. The same way that he has been saying, I want to be in front of the courts, I want my day in court, and when that day comes, like it came 2 months ago, he says, oh, by the way, just before we do that, can I please have a prosecutor that I like? So it's his strategy not to account. I'm not sure whether it's because he thinks that he can drag it out until his life runs out or what. Because anything else doesn't make any logical sense. Well,
on that point, though, JJ, many people are actually saying that actually what we should be focusing on here is former President Jacob Zuma versus the legal system versus the court. But somehow we've gone from former President Jacob Zuma against the legal system or the justice system, and now in is the ordinary South African, right? The ordinary South African who has descended on eNCA, many of whom are not wearing masks, and now it's all about a populist narrative, so as to say. So as much as we can say we should go against it from a legal perspective, but it looks as though he's brought in many people along the journey with him. And in that, is that a strategy that could possibly yield the results that he wants? Is he winning in the strategy?
Yeah, no.
If this was a game of chess, that's what I'm saying.
No, Faith, it's an exaggeration. I think we need to be clear and sober about this. It's a handful of people. There may be 1,000, 2,000, I don't know what the numbers are. The country is not about to go into a precipice and so on, right? We chose this path deliberately when we adopted the Constitution, a path of the rule of law. What does that mean? That means that if even if I can be as popular as I like, I do crime, I will have to serve time. My friends can march, can do whatever they can never change that situation by mobocracy. And that's what's happening in eNCA this afternoon. Quite apart from the fact that the police are not doing their job, right? And they didn't do their job when the EFF marched. They didn't do their job when people went to Ace Makashule's case and so on. There seems to be some kind of what I call difference, right, to authority, to popularism, etc., on the side of the police. And one wonders whether they'll do their job when eventually, whether be it in the next 3 days or when the court in Pietermaritzburg throws out the case of Zuma, which they must, because no lower court should be able to overrule the Constitutional Court. Will the police then arrest him? I guess he won't go to court himself, because if he goes and they say, no, in fact, we're dismissing this, he would then have to be arrested immediately. It's a path we have chosen. You know, look at all other African countries where they chose an opposite path, right? Where big men, and in South Africa it's called the big man syndrome, right? The bigger you are, the more brazen you can be about neglect or ignoring the law. It's a path we have chosen. It's painful. There'll be a couple of people who will have to be arrested, unfortunately, who are going to try and stop the police arresting President Zuma. If the court on Tuesday or on the 12th, you know, insists on its judgment, which I believe it should, because, you know, it was quite detailed on why they decided how they have decided. You know, I mean, they may say, all right, we'll not do 15 months, we'll do 12 months, but prison looks like it's what's facing him. And because of the path we have chosen by adopting a constitution, right, we are going to have to live with the consequences of that. Unfortunately, there's no alternative. Any alternative is too ghastly to contemplate.
Well, JJ, you and I are certainly going to be able to go through this once again a little bit later on South Africa Tonight. I know that you're going to be joining us further for this conversation as we unpack what is happening in eNCA. As you're saying, that it should necessarily be Jacob Zuma against the legal system, but now everybody's joined and come along with it. Or is it not indeed everybody? South Africa, does it have bigger problems to worry about? Well, we'll analyze that a little bit later on this evening. Power to Truth anchor JJ Tabane joining us to unpack that matter.